God, that was the best story in the world,
start
too.
over.
It was the best story in the world. It's too bad we the recording missed it. Hey everyone, so we're gonna open this scene up. We've done about 15 minutes before I realized that it wasn't recording. So Jamie, we'll fill you in later. You guys are having one last dinner at the Dringskapper in the presence of your good buddy and benefactor Beckett. Before you head on a very long journey to the Temple of the Gods. So. I believe Prudence just went up to go get some peas.
Poppy was jealous of my peas.
I didn't know we had any. I didn't see them
They
before.
are exceptional peas.
Yeah, they're not questionable at all.
As soon as Poppy says that, Lee Austin narrows his eyes suspiciously at his peas.
Austin begins to question his peas in silence.
Prudence comes back with a huge bowl, a serving bowl full of peas. She sets it down in front of Poppy.
That's like a Prudence serving bowl, and I'm like 3 foot tall. That's crazy.
It's not just for you, darling. It's for everyone. It's a serving bowl.
Okay, put it in the center, and then everyone can share peas.
I wanted you to have the first go.
Now you're making me question them. Why do you want me to have the first go?
She leans in with her arm on the table and she gives you a big grin and says, I don't know what's the problem. They're not questionable. They're just peas.
You wholeheartedly. He eats the peas.
She will then move them to the middle of the table and sit back down.
So,
He has a question.
What is it?
What everyone is getting everyone's parents. Tandy does not have good ideas.
What? Well, I mean, I can't quite give my parents anything. What are you referring to, Tendy?
Tandy and Friends is going to visit parents and give gifts.
Oh! Well, I mean, I can tell you what I've given my parents before.
Yes.
See, my mom's a bit of a small musical instruments collector. She's got a mouth harp, a few lutes or ukuleles that she's broken in her time from strings, and the occasional bat that sweeps into her kitchen when she's not expecting it. So I get a lot of the smaller type of things, and I think she's got a harmonica for about every key imaginable. So over the years, I've just been buying more and more things for her in that regard. And my dad, well, you know, he's into, you know, fixing wagons and such. So I decided to get him a woodcarver's kit, and so he can be able to, you know, he's getting older in age. So he now works on making miniature toy versions of wagons and then fixes those. So that way it's just handwork and not arm work.
Oh, you sound very thoughtful.
Well, you know me. I got one brain.
If you are having a really hard time coming up with a gift idea, there's always really exotic foods. Everybody eats, after all.
I'm not quite sure in this instance if that's the case.
Oh no, Sin's right. Everybody eats. Speaking of which, I gotta give a commendation to the baker. I didn't know you could make chocolate into a small cake, add chocolate pieces that are covered in chocolate, and put them inside of the cake. This is delicious.
Where'd you get that? I didn't see that at the table.
Oh, it's from my personal stash. Don't worry.
Questionable cake.
Beckett, you can't bring something to the class and not share. It's one of the rules.
Lee Austin looks at the meat he's drinking, quietly puts it down.
Oh, I'll make sure. I'm sampling it. It's a prototype. They're gonna work on making it more available. And if it's a massive success, then I'll make sure to have some for you when you return.
Oh,
Okay,
well
that
then
makes-
wouldn't
that
you
makes
need
sense.
more opinions? Then... Oh, it's gone. Never mind.
I'm pretty sure my opinion's pretty weighty around here. I am the guild master, after all.
I guess in the meantime, we can just eat some of my mom's apple pie.
Your mother
Yes.
makes delicious apple pie.
Wait, which mother?
Amaryllis, the one you met.
Oh, Tandy likes Amaryllis.
Yeah.
Would you like to hear what I'm giving?
Yes.
She leans in close. See, it was the first thing I thought of. And because we're supposed to be very much sure of what we're giving, I couldn't think of anything else that would be better. I'm giving her a memory.
I mean, like
Which one?
writing it down or painting a picture or...
Prudence like kind of sighs Beckett and doesn't answer him. She answers Poppy instead. Well, I thought that perhaps, she could decide if she wanted to pick one, or if I could give her one, and, I have an idea for what I'd give her, but if she decides she wants the pick of the litter, as it were, then I'm not sure what she'll take, and then I guess I won't know. But I trust her not to take anything from me too important.
Oh, this is not what Tandy was thinking Prudence was going to give.
What did you think I was going to give?
Tandy waves Prudence over real close.
She
Tandy
leans
must
in.
whisper.
Okay, do I need to whisper?
Tandy whispers the thing that I just DM'd you to Prudence.
Prudence's mouth drops open and she turns bright red and she scoots away from Tendy. Tendy, that's inappropriate. I don't know where
Oh.
you'd get that sort of idea.
Oh,
What-
Tandy has ideas. Tandy
What-
sees a lot of things. Anyway, what is Poppy getting for Poppy's mom?
Mine was similar, kinda, to what Prudence is giving her mom, but like also not similar. Okay. Now it's not finished, but Poppy pulls out a book from her bag, like sets it on
Ooh.
the table with a thud, and she's like, she opens it, flips through a few pages, and you see just a bunch of words and then like pictures, drawings that go along with it. I'm like, it's kind of a book about my life and what my mom missed in it, and I was gonna give it to her so that she'd know. But also I have a bunch of other things that I was gonna give too because I didn't think that this would be enough. So I'm confident in like several things.
Maybe Poppy can read book to mom.
I was planning to. I have a bit of it written out, so
I think that's a wonderful idea, Poppy.
I don't mean to, I have a question. Poppy, if your mother's over in the pastures with your father and your brothers and sisters, why were you all traveling? You say you're going to be gone for about over a month's time. I don't understand. Poppy's at least is just right down the street. All of your parents.
No, Beckett, no. No, it's my birth mom. Amaryllis isn't my real mom. She is, but she's not my birth mom. She's a gnome. I'm a fairy.
That makes sense, but I think the part that I'm probably now more confused on is how are all your parents equally distant and all in one spot?
I think they're all friends.
Oh,
Or enemies.
Not the impression that I got, actually.
That they're friends or enemies?
What if some of them are lovers?
it was just
all equally stunned.
it was all
The group was too stunned to speak.
it was just a thought. It was a weird thing, but no, I guess it makes sense if they're friends. Maybe they're an old previous adventuring group or something. Yeah.
Well, following in their footsteps.
Adventuring is a family business.
I have to be frightened about what I have to do.
What do you have to do?
What do you have to do, Sin?
What do you have to do?
It's just a gift. You shouldn't be frightened.
Gonna take on a beast.
Which one?
I'm not sure yet. I have to ask. I don't know what. Not sure what's.
Well, if you're not sure, then you're not confident, are you? Oh, please do not hunt Tendy's great grandparents.
Real quick, I just imagine Sin going, confident, goes and stabs a kobold and goes, alright, you're coming with me.
I'm not sure what's in Margrave Forest, and but it has to be impressive. Whatever I take down, and I have to do it alone.
If you're going to kill something in the Margrave Forest, please pass it by Victor first.
Also, maybe talk to Mara.
I worked very, very hard for them to be able to talk to each other.
This creature, if anything comes from it, will go to my dead.
I understand, but I would really prefer if you don't cause any waves.
Why does it have to be a creature from Margreve?
I just assume that would be where it'd be from. I suppose it doesn't have to be from there.
What if on our adventure we find something crazy? Also, wait a minute. If you kill a creature and then you bring it for a gift, then you'd have to carry it for 40 days and 39 nights.
I wouldn't be holding the whole creature. I'd harvest it.
Oh, so then you'd carry around its dead remains in like a sack or something?
Like just the proof that I've bested it.
Do you really need proof? Wouldn't he know?
It would be a symbol of the effort, I guess.
If he wants, we could help you fight it, and then you'd have all of our
No,
words.
it has to just be me. I have to prove that I'm not weak.
No,
Oh.
no offense there, Sin, but, your parents seem a bit harsh. If you feel like you have to take down something by yourself.
I have to prove that I'm ready.
Maybe
Maybe Tendy and friends can try to find something for you. And then Sin can go get it.
There is nothing about receiving help that makes you weak. You can't win a battle with one person.
I have to do it alone. And I'm not sure what kind of creature would be impressive for one person to take down, but I have some people that I can ask.
Well, I mean, if you want my help on something that would be worthy, it'd be at least something that's bigger than you.
I guess that's true. Beckett, you might know what would be around here that
Well,
needs to be impressive enough for one person to take down.
Rat King.
And then maybe a step above that.
but not so bad that you die because it's too much. You
Yes.
don't do that.
well, from what I can recall, and you guys managed, and I heard the story of you guys taking care of all of those hobgoblins, and then of course that Garibaldi, Gibraltar. There we go.
There it is.
So now that sort of thing you can't be able to take on by yourself, and hopefully you're aware of that.
Yes, that would be very impressive, but mostly impossible.
And you're not looking to kill anything of any sort of sentience, correct?
I'm not sure. What would be impressive enough to take down by myself?
Well, I guess a good example would be a giant boar. It's bigger than you. It is a lot of things to be. That's a lot to be carrying around, though. So
Does it have to be an intelligent creature?
that's what I meant by sentient, Poppy.
Those are the same word?
They're fairly similar, yeah.
Wow, crazy.
It needs to be a great feat of strength, I guess.
Boars are known for their strength, so if you manage to fell one, then I mean, that's just one example. I know large boars of that nature are more to the south of. Don't get too far into Margreve, but they're around.
Okay. A giant boar.
Well, Sin, who's your dad? What does he represent?
He's the hunter.
Have we heard of him?
Prudence is
Yeah.
finding so much
Like-
enjoyment in just watching Beckett's face.
In
Represent.
Poppy's first downtime, she researched a bunch of gods. And she rolled pretty high on that roll, if I recall.
Okay. Yeah, I'd say you're fairly familiar, at least with, like I'd say you probably know most of the gods themselves, but like the details of like maybe what mask they go by, you're not exactly sure. But sure, the hunter is a name for one of the dark gods.
Oh. So he's a dark one.
I don't know if that's necessarily nice to say about one's parent, Poppy.
No, I think I don't know how the titles work. But anyway,
I love how confused Beckett is. It's killing me. I love it.
Oh, look, wine.
where'd you get the wine? I didn't see it over there.
There's wine in each of your goblets. Drink up.
Oh. Okay.
You're not leaving tonight, right?
My dad definitely
No.
frightens me, but that's why I want to get the gift right.
Well, if he frightens you, do you really wanna see him? I mean, technically, you could say no.
You really have a choice.
No, this is something that I have to do.
Have
wanna
to
prove
do
myself.
or are told to do.
No, I have to do it. Might have some answers after all.
Well, I could tell you one thing. I'm confident that all of you could easily take down a gelatinous cube. However, individually, it's a bit hard because once you're in there, you're
What's
in
a
there.
gelatinous cube?
You don't know what a gelatinous cube is?
No, I know what a ghost is. I know what a skeleton is. I know what a
no.
vampire is. I know what Baba Yaga is. I know
He
what,
looks at you and just goes,
Do you want me to name more,
That's-
or do you?
it's just a tale. That's not...
No, it's real. My
Alright.
mom and dad told me this story.
Oh, all right. Well, it's probably to keep you on your best behavior. Of course, Baba Yaga's real.
Yeah, it is.
Anyways, a gelatinous cube.
Yeah, what is it? Is it an intelligent creature?
Some people have smart person arguments about that. I would probably tell you it certainly is not. It's just a giant cube made of ooze. They're,
Is it edible?
no, I wouldn't try it. They are typically found in dungeons. I don't know why, but they are transparent, wide as they are tall, and as far as what I know, they typically kill their prey pretty slowly. If you get caught inside of it, it just begins digesting you.
Oh no, the cube of death.
Terrifying.
Yes, quite terrifying. She's in sarcasm.
Sin, do you want to fight the gelatin cube?
No. I think I'll stick with the boar. Sounds like a pretty safe bet.
Well, are you going for safe here, or are you going for... You know what? Never mind. I don't want you to get hurt, so... No.
Yeah, I don't know if
boar.
I wouldn't enable him.
I'm not sure what you would harvest from a gelatin cube.
Oh,
Some of it's gelatin blood.
no. When it... Here's a great thing. So if you do manage to fell a gelatinous cube, sometimes from the previous things it's eaten, there's like gold and treasure and stuff inside of its bottom floor. That when it dissolves, then hey, guess what? That sticky treasure is yours.
You can give your dad some sticky treasure. But no, the boar.
I mean, she's got a point. It won't go rancid on the trip.
Boar is a very impressive thing to kill.
Yeah.
I think the boar is probably the best bet. Gelatinous cube.
if he's
the
a hunter.
sticky treasure sounds interesting, but
I mean,
I'm sure a boar will be just fine.
is he a animal hunter or a monster hunter?
I don't know much about him. But when I saw him in the forest, he
or is he like
the bear.
a price hunter that searches for the best prices at like bargain sales?
Like
I
Garfield.
don't think that's the kind of hunter that he is.
Oh, okay.
You know the bear pelt that I brought back.
Mm-hmm.
That came from him.
Oh, he gave you that? That's so nice that he gave you a gift.
Well, if you decide to go and find yourself a giant boar and you're going to take it as far as you're saying you're going to be traveling, I suppose as long as you bring it back in one piece, then you could probably take the cart that you took out last time to the Margreve if you wanted to keep it preserved.
That would be awfully generous. to
Oh,
offer it.
Thank you very much, Beckett. That would be fantastic.
He looks at you, Sin, and goes, I mean, after all, if you can't quite remember, who you are, where you're from, it's quite beneficial that you met your dad, I suppose. There's a lot to... If you might fear him or dislike him, but at least maybe you'll get to learn a thing or two about it. And you say you found him in the forest?
Last time that we went on a trip to the towers, he was out in the forest.
What are the odds? Just being in the forest right across the Derry River. Or the River Argent. I tell you, there's a lot of things in that forest that are pretty wacky and zany, but finding your father after a bout of not remembering who you are? Boy, oh boy.
If you think that's funny. Prudence looks at Leofston with a wide grin. What? Don't you want to talk about your dad?
Tell us about your dad.
What are you giving as a gift, Leofston?
As I had just replaced my chainmail, that was the chainmail my mother gave me as a pup. So I thought of giving him the chainmail as a token of what I had gone through, every scar, every injury, every repair. A symbol of the life I had before I had a chance to meet him.
It's wonderful. She nods.
They have to not say, yes, it's very wonderful. I did a
So
good
you
job.
say when you were a pup, eh?
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a
Poppy,
that's a turn of phrase.
Poppy.
What?
Leofston's dad is the Wolf King.
I thought it was Thor. Is Thor a wolf king?
Hang on 1 second. Leofston?
Hmm?
Is Thor a king of wolves?
Prudence is giggling. She's looking at Beckett. What's wrong, Beckett?
No, I want to see how this pans out.
Oh, sure.
No, he's not.
Poppy.
What?
Leofston is doing a long pause first.
Yes, it's a hesitation.
Does she know that? Does Cindy know that we can all hear her? Them?
Just let them
Teddy
have
gets-
this.
And he gets real quiet and just looks at Beckett like a deer in headlights. Teddy waves back.
Tendy, they all have really good hearing like you, it turns out.
Maybe Beckett is also Wolf King.
Oh.
No, we're all sitting like 3 feet away from one another.
Just let them have this.
Beckett
It's
is-
how we understand what's going through their heads.
Beckett. Beckett does have a beard. It's true.
Prudence leans in.
Does he? Does he? I don't remember currently. Is it
If you
just the
think-
mustache?
If you think Beckett's beard is quite impressive, have you looked a bit lower? She points at his chest where all the chest hair is sticking out.
Prudence,
where
this
his
is
eyes are.
inappropriate.
I don't look there because that's not where his eyes are.
Prudence, do not be objectifying the boss.
Point.
At the point.
Tendy is thinking maybe Tendy is getting money for Grandpa. Maybe Tendy is making a card to give with money, like gift and card, gift card.
Yeah, and you should really have a target to what they're going to be getting the.
Yes, everything. No, but Tendy has another thought.
And they
Yeah,
reach
yeah.
into their bag and they pull out the mask that they got, the hobgoblin mask. Prudence has the other one.
Tendy is thinking maybe Tendy is giving present for every adventure Tendy goes on.
A part of your like horde.
Yes, Grandpa
That's so
probably
smart.
likes Horde.
He
What
was
are we gonna
asleep.
do?
Oh, he's back.
So
he's
there
back.
you are in the coterie house. The raccoon just got
Oh my
thrown into
God.
Ian's room.
Hey,
Ian
listen.
screams.
Listen up here. Listen up here.
Yeah.
Hold up.
Hi.
I accidentally went to go close the chat, and I closed the whole window. This is why we don't use Discord chat.
Just
So-
don't close the chat.
So we're no longer recording, huh?
No, we're still recording. There's
Oh, we
there's,
are?
there's
They
just a
heard
bunch
us?
there's just a bunch of silence while I was away.
Okay,
No one
thank
is
God.
hearing Tendy ever, no.
If there would have
So
been
anyway,
any time for you guys to actually talk about Thor in front of and not have anyone know, that'd have been it.
I mean, to be fair, there's plenty of.
To be fair.
There are lots of Vikings named Thor or Tor.
I want to believe that we were all sitting at the table talking and Beckett just out of existence. And then right back.
I'll be right back.
You're back.
what were we talking about?
Yeah, welcome
I don't
back.
know. The prettiest girl just showed up in the chat. I don't know.
Oh yeah. Tendy gift hordes.
Yes, Tendy thinks Tendy's grandpa might like Horde. And many things instead of one big thing.
That's so smart.
How long did
As long as
Tabaxi
you-
live?
Feel confident in it.
Not long. Tendy will probably die before everyone else here.
Oh, I wouldn't say that.
No, Tendy's gonna live forever.
Oh yes,
Cause
yes,
you're
because of
immortal.
Grandpa. Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, we're not quite sure how the aging thing works. Perhaps we should ask about that.
Hmm. My mom doesn't like it when I talk to her when she's busy.
Why not?
Because she's busy.
This is silly.
Well, I asked Wicket if I could talk to my mom about my day every day. But then he said it's not a good idea because she's busy.
To be fair, I can't really talk to my mother either.
To be fair.
To be fair.
To be fair. I think that's just kind of how it is for us.
I'd never spoken to my father until I was this age. So,
Do you think Patches has a parent too?
no.
No?
Maybe
No
not.
parents for Patches? Okay.
That was such a fast fucking answer. No. Period.
No.
Okay, end the conversation.
Sorry.
What if Jolene has parents?
That makes more sense.
Yes, 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 yes. Jolene and Tendy is related, yes.
Do you think you really are?
Maybe.
Well, I mean, you guys know each other.
Tendy. Yes, yes, yes.
Do all dragons know each other?
Prudence kind of like, have any of you seen Patches? I know I've been quite busy in and out of the forest, but I haven't really seen him.
Actually, he kind of Beckett swallows his food that he was taking a bite of, that he was pantomiming. While you guys were out doing your whatever it was, coming back, perhaps maybe even spending your gold or something. Patches left me more, I guess, a message than to deliver to you. Because Patches has left. He's gone back up north.
He took Jolene?
Kidnapping Jolene, dragon napping.
He left without saying goodbye.
Also that?
I said it was of urgent importance.
Oh.
So even I'm not quite sure why. I did have to be the bearer of bad news and tell him about the guild dues and everything, but he said, I mean, the amount that you brought in and his share was more than enough to be able to cover it, so...
Do you think there's a problem with his mom's?
Whatever it is, I'm sure
worried.
that it was urgent and wish him the best, I guess.
He'll probably return once everything's fixed.
Tendy clears their throat and goes,
Yeah, Tindy?
well, I gotta get moving on. Goodbye, Prudence. Goodbye, Leofston. Goodbye, Sin. Goodbye, Poppy.
Goodbye, Patches.
Tendy is so good at impressive.
No, he just
Well,
he
Jolene,
wanted to say that he
wiggle on.
he wanted to say that he missed all of you greatly. He'll miss all of you greatly if you ever find yourselves up in, I think it was Bjornreich or somewhere around there. Ask around for him, but he said, he told me briefly when he first arrived he was here because something bad was happening to Zobeck, but he wasn't quite convinced that anything is whatever brought him here wasn't apparent. And so he figured he was best to go back up and perhaps maybe get a better sense of what he is actually needed for.
No, not a parent. Patches is having both parents already up north.
It's a parent with two P's. It's
Parents.
They have peas too? Are they questionable?
Beckett gets a fucking straw and a sippy cup.
Where'd you
Go
get the
sit
straw
down.
from? I didn't see any straws.
Tandy has question.
Go ahead.
who?
Cindy.
Beckett,
Oh,
is Beckett fighting a jelly cube?
oh,
Beckett knows so much about jelly cubes.
have I fought and encountered a gelatinous cube?
Yes.
Absolutely, I have. I actually got rid of a few of them with my old crew, but I can tell you that there's I believe if it's black, stay back. What?
Insight check.
That was a thing you said.
Listen, Dungeons and Dragons is not racist.
Have you heard of tieflings?
What are you trying to insight there, good sir?
If he's telling the truth.
If he's telling the truth on
Smart. She
Okay.
could be lying.
Oh, about if he's flat cute.
Yeah.
Tell you what I would have wanted was for you to say I don't quite believe him, and then I would have you make a nature check, then an insight check. But go ahead, since you already rolled the insight check. Go ahead and roll me a nature check. Your best guess is that he's referring to, just like how there are different kinds of hobgoblins, there might be different kinds of gelatinous cubes. Or oozes. So it is hard to tell whether or not he is, telling the truth or lying.
Gotcha. Out of character. When we started Midgard ages ago, there was a point when Patches and Sin went into a tavern, and there was a high dollar alcohol that was made from an animal, some kind. I can't remember what it is.
Yeah. Actually, believe it or not, I did you guys a solid. And if you go to the WikiGuard, I have now placed the all of the NPCs for the Council of Zobeck, as well as the taverns of Zobeck, and a list of each district and what is where, and I've with links to each individual tavern on a page. So you are welcome. I believe it was the Seven Bells Tavern.
It was.
Okay. But the one thing is, I did not copy over the drinks because I didn't want you guys to know exactly what gave what. But what do you recall from the Seven Bells Tavern?
There was some kind of really, really strong drink that Sin had, but it was made from an animal, but I can't remember the animal. But I wanted to say that Sin grabbed a bottle that he could have for this occasion, that maybe he could share with everyone.
Sure. I mean, I since then cannot remember the effect since I moved it over.
I remember having to take a Constitution.
Well, of course.
Save for that.
Yeah. Let's see if it's in my secrets folder. No, it's not, because I've got all of that from when I moved over. Well, you know what? Ain't no better time like the present. Let's roll us up another handy-dandy list of taverns. If you were looking for that particular kind, I do apologize, because now it is gone with the winds. Taverns. Random taverns. wish there was a way to lock particular things behind stuff, but I'm just gonna have to do this in a new note real quick. Tavern drinks. Just gonna have to make a table real quick, but yeah, let's say. I mean, is there a purpose behind getting these? Having it here and handing it out, other than just people enjoying drink.
Yeah, just people enjoying drink. I wanted to get something, high dollar to give to everyone.
Ooh,
Aw.
fancy. Well, then, by all means.
I picked this up and I thought maybe we could share it. It's I've had it before. It's pretty tasty.
Well, this looks pretty darn good. Where did you get this from? One of the taverns?
Yeah, the 7 bells.
Oh. Well, I tell you what, this is. He looks at the rest of you. This is some high quality stuff. Thank you, Sin. This beats any sort of. Just normal. You can only have so much elven wine before you start pining for more exotic things.
Hey, Sin, how many bells did you see in the tavern? Were there actually 7?
I didn't count. I guess I should have.
I'll have to go there to check.
Questionable bells.
Questionable bells.
Tendy, thanks, Sin, but Tendy is not allowed to drink after going to jail. Tendy's dad says so.
Understand. How about everybody else?
I'll take some.
I will take some in moderation.
Leofson finishes off his tankard in an opposite to Sin.
Sin takes some for himself and then passes it around to everyone else.
Tindy, how
Thank
old
you.
are you again?
Oh no, I can't read suddenly. This is such a good question. Tendy knows the answer. For sure.
19.
19. For Tabaxi, that... Are you of drinking age? I did question this before, but now I'm questioning now. How old did Tabaxi have to be to drink?
Oh, how old did you start drinking?
Me?
Yep.
This year.
Okay, well, that's your prerogative, but as far as I know, the drinking age is like 16.
I have a drinking age down here.
Yeah, there's...
Who else didn't start drinking?
When did I stop?
And I was 10 years old.
You were 10 years old and you were drinking?
I had my
Leo-
first kill. I had my first drink.
Leofston was 10 years old once?
It was 100 years ago, but once, yes.
Did Leofston have a beard?
Yes? Yes.
Yes, this makes sense.
Do
It
you
was-
have drawing?
It was more under my chin than on the chin, but it grew up eventually.
It grew up like you.
It too grew to almost 7 feet.
Where did the rest of it go?
I lost it in battle.
Is it gonna come back for revenge?
Yes.
Tendy looks at Beckett like this is the most horrifying thing they have ever heard, and they need reassurance that it's not true.
He was looking at drinks to add. God damn it. He gives you the whole like.
Oh,
I think that motion of me that it's gonna come back. It's gonna kill us because it was a neck motion, you know? When you put the hand over the neck?
Tendy is too young to die.
One day
It's okay.
it will return and consume Zobeck, the greatest of Glopnirs.
Lofston.
What?
Tindy, it's okay, you're immortal, remember?
Oh, yes.
I don't think we're immortal.
I thought that's what it meant.
I don't.
We
think
met our
so.
parents. I thought that's what it meant.
No, no. Typically, if you're from a parent, you are immortal, and yeah, I'm pretty sure that you had some pretty nasty wounds when you came back from the towers, correct?
Yeah, but we didn't.
Oh,
we
yes.
didn't know our parents. So
But that
Wait,
doesn't.
did
Even if
know
you
our
didn't know them personally, they're still your parents, which means you are still born from them. Which means if you take a cut, if you accidentally stab yourself with that fork right there, which don't do that by the way, then it
Fork
will
down.
it will hurt. It will hurt, and you'll probably bleed. Let's not be trying things. See, Leofton, this is why the young don't drink down here, because then they start thinking they're invincible.
No, but I thought that since we met the parents and then we finally learned about the trip, then I thought that meant that we were invincible.
Prudence looks at Leofston like, that's not true, right? Like,
Leofton like gestures to himself. It clearly isn't true. He's in his 50s.
Prudence.
yes, Tenzi.
Come here.
She comes closer.
Does Prudence think that Kit has a parent?
The what?
Does Beckett have a parent?
Does Beckett have a parent?
Yes.
He said he
Maybe
did.
Beckett is the strongest one of us.
Do you want me to stab him with a fork to find out?
No.
He said, Tenzi, he said he had parents. He said
No,
he bought
but-
his mother some flutes.
No, but Papa parent.
Papa parents. Oh. Beckett.
I heard.
How does Beckett do that?
I think we know.
I think Beckett's parent is God of listening.
Look, if the only way you're going to be able to sneak one of your little whispers by me is to just write it down on a piece of paper and pass a note. But I think we're above that, aren't we?
Poppy puts down the paper and pen like,
Yes, we are above that.
Good. Okay, no, hold on. Repeat the question. Y'all are very distracting, and this wine, his drink is quite good.
Is
Very good.
Beckett child of God?
Well, I mean, it depends on who you worship. People think that if you follow the service of the acts of a particular deity that you're not fond of, but more you want to make sure you follow their tenets and such. So, like, you would think that you're a child of God, but like, since we're all made in their image.
But was Beckett actually made in image of God?
Tandy looks at everybody else in the group like they're having a very hard time wording this.
Is Beckett a baby god? Like Tandy is baby dragon?
Tindy, you're quite sweet, but you're not. You're a bald tabaxi, and I perhaps maybe it'd be best that you don't drink. If you start, I don't quite believe I understand what you're talking about.
No, she's a dragon.
I'm starting to think that maybe he doesn't have Papa parents.
All right, okay, look. If you're a dragon, then I'm a monkey's uncle, okay? That was the wrong turn of phrase to mention in front of your presence. Okay, how about this? If you're a dragon, he takes out a bag of money and kind of weighs it in his hand for a second. And he goes, sets it down. And he goes, 50 gold says that you cannot prove to me right here that you are actually dragon.
Prudence grins and crosses her arms and sits back in the chair.
You can't leave here.
No,
You must prove
no.
you're a dragon here and now.
Beckett, please.
Go ahead and prove it to him, Tenzi.
Tandy does not want to hurt the guild hall.
Okay, well, I'm sure you could be more creative and thoughtful of your surroundings if you're truly a dragon.
Would we possibly go into the courtyard but no further?
It would probably be safer.
We'll all go. We'll make it
No,
adventure.
no,
and I'll
no.
get my
Someone's got to be an adult around here and keep Tendy in line when you're all going around somewhere. I'm putting my money where my mouth is. Where's yours?
But the money's on the table.
The
Tendy points to their mouth on their face.
Here, guild inside here. I think we're about done eating anyways. What could you possibly do to the guild hall?
Burn it down because
Yeah.
dragon fire.
Yes, Tendy
I
could
thought
do
that was
this.
kind of self-explanatory.
Well, fortunately for me, stone is highly resistant to actual dragon fire.
Mustache is not, though. Tendy does not want to hurt Beckett.
Okay, well,
Tendy is really confused by this whole situation and is like, is Beckett into like self-harm? Is Beckett okay?
he looks at you for a moment and goes,
Beckett's a masochist.
all right, if you're that concerned for my well-being, which I'm sure my mustache thanks you, then sure, we can go outside. But let's be brief. It's rather chilly out there.
It won't be.
Well,
You're in on this too.
I'm only in on the truth.
All right, fine. Well, you know what? It's 50 gold's 50 gold, but I'm taking it with me just in case Sergeant comes around. He keeps saying he finds gold coins everywhere, and I think it's just because someone's been leaving them for him to pick up, like a kid after candy.
it was me.
It was Ilyana.
Puppy.
Is that in character?
Oh my god.
Yeah, sure. He goes, I know who it is. It's Ilyana, but it's, you know, don't say don't. This is what is this, some sort of truth serum wine you've been handing out? Don't spoil it. It's just fun to see his face light up.
Tendy is wing person for 2 people now.
Okay. Well, speaking
And
of
you're a wing person in general because you're a dragon.
Yes.
yeah, speaking of which, let's see this flying, fire-breathing dragon. And he starts to get up from his chair and
Oh,
take.
Tendy cannot fly.
Not yet, Sandy.
I have a feeling that this gold is going to be back in my belt pocket quite soon. And he starts heading towards the doors leading out into the courtyard.
Yeah,
As,
so
He
follow.
goes out.
as Prudence walks out with them, she leans down to Teddy and goes, "Who's the second wing person?"
Tendy just looks at Prudence like she's not very bright.
Lee Austin follows with his tankard.
Tendy looks at Leofston and gives Prudence the most pointed look.
Tandy, I want in on the wings.
Yes.
I want help.
Yes. Poppy, you is knowing what everyone is saying. Chickens is having enough wings for everyone.
What?
Tendy goes outside.
That's what I'm telling you, Prudence. When you take them out, if you take them to a bar, I can only save them from being drunk inside of here. But I mean, you're gonna have to be responsible for them when they're out in public.
Are you responsible? I take care of them. Are you insinuating I don't?
I'm just saying they might say the wrong thing and piss off the wrong person.
I highly doubt that would happen.
All right,
especially
Tindy.
Under my care.
All right, Tendy, let's see this fantastical display to prove once and for all that you are in fact a descendant of dragons and not a line of sphinx cats from, tabaxi from Nerian at all.
Why don't you stand a little closer, Beckett?
No.
Prudence steps back.
Lee Austin also steps back.
What is it you're going to do?
Tendy does not give an explanation. Tendy coughs into their little tiny fist. And then they roar at Beckett. We don't have Beckett on a combat tracker, so I don't know how to do this.
Okay, what's the save that they need to make?
Charisma.
A charisma save, you say?
I know this is going to be very impossible. But for the record, the Dragon Roar is like a full-on Skyrim word. I can't think of one.
What's the save DC?
Oh Lord, hang on. I'll know this. Hang on.
It's good practice.
This is good practice to find out where everything is.
By the way, I now have a bunch of tavern drinks that I can be able to pull up at a moment's notice.
I don't.
Should be if you like grab the gear.
Right, I know it's on my sheet somewhere.
I think it should. Oh my god. It should be like
8
your
plus your
charisma
proficiency.
Eight
Eight
plus-
plus your proficiency bonus plus your casting modifier. So 8 plus 2 plus what's your charisma modifier?
I think it should be like 13.
16.
16.
So that's a plus 3 then, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. Yes.
So 8 plus 2 is 10, plus 3 is 13. You roar at Beckett, and his eyes go fairly wide. He does pass the check, so he's not frightened of you.
He takes 1d4 psychic damage.
Oh shit, we'll roll that psychic damage. You rude you have now initiated combat. Stop! You violated the law.
Oh wait, you said he passes.
Yeah.
Yeah, then never mind.
Okay. That's what I thought. His eyes go wide, and this is just an internal, or is it an external, like, everyone can hear it?
It is in the mind of one creature.
Got it. Okay. So, like, I don't imagine his hair and his mustache kind of flapping in the forceful winds of the Fus Roda. But,
I mean, you could. That would be very cute. Just a silent, and then just the wind.
Okay, so his eyes go wide, and he kind of, like, his head goes back a bit as you try to, get into his head and go inside of his own personal hearing space. He goes, you see him think for a moment. Oh, I can show you somebody who could be able to do that. They're a magician. They learn spells and they cast magic.
Is this Tendy's brother or sister or other thing?
No, there's a thing called spells. I'm not privy to them myself, but spells, you could be able to cast spells.
What spells is.
Yeah, so it just seems like that. I've seen if other people have done it, it might just be something magic that you can do, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're a dragon.
Tendy is a bard.
Beckett.
He squats down to Poppy. Yes, Poppy.
Why don't you believe? Open your mind.
Okay, look, so far, before this wine really started hitting, I was connecting the dots between, someone saying that Thor is Leofson's, papa, and that your mom is too busy, and now they all live in the same place. They're all friends, and
We don't live in the same place. That'd be silly.
And if Tindy is to be believed, then I don't think that the dragons don't typically keep friends like that. So it's all rather peculiar, and I don't exactly know why, but I am confused, and I believe I have been able to keep my 50 gold.
No, because
Tendy's grandpa. Tendy does not know if Tendy's grandpa has friends. Tendy's grandpa lives in a big cave.
Tendy's a dragon, I'm a princess, and Leofston is a wolf king.
He pats you on the head, Poppy. Of course you are. I just would like.
You believe that, but you don't believe that Tendy's a dragon?
He looks up at Prudence, going, "Help me!" Like, I'm trying. Look, I'm saying solid proof. That's all I need.
Solid proof.
Mm-hmm. What could you actually show me that would make me believe? Yelling in my ears and whatnot is certainly quite an interesting magical ability, but I don't know if that quite seals the deal for me. Can we go back inside now? I need more of that wine to warm me up.
Do you know how we can prove? Do you have any more ideas?
I am actually looking through my sheet. I don't think so.
Prudence stretches, winces, holds her ribs. Just say that you believe her.
What could it do to hurt?
Look, I've spent the majority of my life trying to avoid getting bamboozled and spending all of my hard-earned money in places that I shouldn't have been spending them. And so if someone comes at me nowadays, it's just a reflexive defensive action to be able to call their bluff and see if they're actually able to do what they say they could do.
Tendi will have to tell Asgarath on Beckett.
That name
Andy,
sounds
what does that mean?
This is Grandpa.
You're-
Tendi will tell Grandpa that Beckett is being mean to Tendi.
You're saying that the dragon god Asgarath is your grandfather.
Maybe great.
And they just keep going.
Okay. Let's go inside. Poppy, what about you? You say you're a princess. Who are you possibly a royalty family of?
Will you believe me, or is this a trick?
No, it's not a trick. Trust me, I'm going to go around and ask everybody. Nobody's exempt from this conversation.
Well, I'm looking at
You know
my
what?
notes.
Actually, hold on a second. He gets a bright idea and he goes, "Give me about 5 minutes. I'll be right back." And he leaves.
The Austin leans over.
Tendi does this. Tendi does it.
Wait, what?
What if?
Since Kelly cut out,
Did
he
I answer?
said, "Take his gold." Tendi holds onto the bag for safekeeping.
Hold on.
Just like hangs onto it in front of them.
Give me a sleight of hand.
Oh, I'm not stealing it. I'm holding it physically in front of me like it's a big bowling ball
But
being held by a small cat.
But he was holding it. He carried it
I thought
outside.
that he put it.
I'm sorry, I thought he
it
left it on the
down.
table. Yeah, don't.
Then never mind.
Okay.
I'm not trying to steal from him.
Okay.
time.
This time. Yeah, so he leaves. He's gone.
Prudence looks at her goblet and then she offers the rest of it to Austin. She doesn't want it anymore.
He happily takes it and just finishes it off right then there.
Are we really telling people that we are?
If we're telling anybody, we should probably tell only him. Maybe
well, it's not
Ileana.
like he's believing us anyway.
I guess
Tendi
that's
told
true.
Tendi's dad.
I haven't told anybody.
I
Oh,
told him
and one of the
twice.
professors at the college. And
Which
maybe
one?
a second one.
Be careful who you tell. You do not want to end up somewhere they keep crazies.
Where do they keep crazies?
In the White House.
In the White House?
The great. Oh no, the opposite of the Blue House.
I get it.
Tendi heard one time that there used to be a scary fat man in the White House.
Oh yes, his skin was rather orange, wasn't it?
Yes. Tendi is thinking maybe he is part orc. Tendi thinks maybe he is part cat, like Tendi is, and does not have hair because hair is not real for this man.
I'd seen him before walking in Zobeck. It's rather scary, rather plump.
Stinky.
Yeah.
Of all the times that I want to make this video private instead of public. Beckett returns and he is accompanied walking inside with him with somebody you've probably seen but never really gotten to know. It's not a red, like the red portal wizard that you first had when you were sent off into the desert arena to fight the big giant automaton. But this individual is wearing kind of priestly robes. And he goes inside with the gentleman and waves you all to come in.
Hello, new friend.
Hello.
Who are you?
Demetrius.
Demetrius.
Beckett's like, right, Dimitri, I need you to do me a favor. I know that normally we ask you to be able to do the whole Zone of Truth thing when everybody comes back, but I need you to cast a spell over the table while we're all sitting. You don't have to be around for it, of course. You have to. You can leave, right? It doesn't require you to be around or require any sort of concentration. And Demetrius goes, no, I'm able to cast it, and it lasts for a while. Are you sure? You want me to do this for you? And he goes, listen, I will pay you a little extra for it. I appreciate it. But look, I'm just trying to, squash some things and get a better understanding before I drink a little bit more extra wine. Here's Demetrius looks over. He's kind of an older man. Got one of that Friar Tuck sort of haircut going on. He's at least Leofston's age, but he looks far more weary as far as worn down and not like healthy and bulky. And he it's if you compared like Leofston to somebody who's exactly the same age but has smoked since they've been 14.
Leofston from Wish, I see.
And he goes, he looks at all of you. Is this something you all are wishing to have done?
I consent.
I'm not sure what this is
Oh
going
yeah,
to
what
happen.
is it first? Before I consent.
I beg pardon. You in the contract, I believe Mr. Beckett has made for you. There's a clause in there that says when you return from your particular contracts, that you are to you immediately submit to a zone of truth to be able to say whether or not there are things you have kept for yourself that should have been turned in.
Yeah.
But this is outside of that technically. So you're familiar with Zone of Truth at this point. You've probably seen me once or twice, barely around, a bit old. But this
I made
doesn't.
peppermint tea one time when you had
Yeah,
a
yeah.
cold.
Yes, yeah, I remember you. Yeah, this is outside of the contract, so I'm just asking for if this is something that everyone agrees to.
I consent.
I consent to that. Yes, it's not an issue.
Leofston nods.
I suppose it's fine.
Yes, but new friend cannot listen.
Oh
Tandy
no,
does not want to go to the crazy place.
I will simply I'll cast it. You all must be seated, and it covers from table to end to table end. So, you just make sure that you're all staying here for as long as you're supposed to do this for, and I will leave and go back to my warm bed.
Okay.
Sorry for interrupting.
Oh
Yes.
no! With this extra money, I'll be able to finally afford something for candle nights. All right, so you all take a seat.
Yes.
Okay. He uses verbal and somatic components. Mecca lecca hi, mecca hiney hiney ho, and channels the casting for Zone of Truth, which you are all very familiar with. It is. You all have to be tightly seated together towards the center of the table, but you are all within the 15-foot radius sphere, or at least there's like at the opposite end of the table is where it's cast, and one by one you'll each have to go into there. So once it is cast, then Demetrius may you all have a interesting yet fun and safe evening. And he leaves. And so Beckett's like, all right, we only got about 10 minutes or so who wants to go first?
Tendy is Jaggin.
No, wait. Tendy, you have to go sit in that chair. It's only a 15-foot space. We can't all be within 15
Tendy
feet.
is sitting on Leofston.
So Tendy and Leofson are in the chair at the end?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Both of you, since it was cast, when you need to both roll a charisma saving throw.
Do I?
Yes.
If I
Can't we
consent
just
to it?
say we're good.
Doesn't matter.
Oh, okay.
You consent to him casting the spell and that you would subject yourself to the effects of it, but
I thought you could just like let it happen.
nope.
That's how I've done it every time. Am I wrong?
No? There's
You
no
said
wrong way to play.
charisma?
Charisma saving throw.
Oh, I don't know if this is. Yeah, this is right.
We just grab the charisma and throw it at the thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Tendy,
Mm.
you are able to, if you wish, speak a deliberate lie while you're within this radius. Leofston, you find that it is hard for you to try to tell a lie. So, all right. So now that it's official, like a referee's whistle, go ahead and repeat what you said.
One moment.
I gotta pee. I'll be right back.
No. Okay.
Tendy is related to dragon god Asgarath. Tendy is upset that Beckett is not believing Tendy.
Look, it's not that I don't believe you. It's a very tall claim. It's not every
Tendy
day.
is tiny.
You know what I meant. It's more that it's not very common to meet or to say that you are a child of an actual god. So forgive me for not but initially believing.
But we're
And
all
he does-
children of gods.
Yes, Tendy does not want Beckett to tell anyone this.
Before the end of all of this, I will sit in the circle and you have the freedom to ask me all the things that you wish of me. I suppose that's fair.
Not the promise.
Well, I'm not in the circle of truth right now, am I?
Poppy steps into the circle.
No. Will you wait your turn? Leofston is underneath Tendy.
But I just climbed on top of Leofson's shoulder.
Then, okay, while Leofston tells me, roll a charisma saving throw.
Leofston
This
really.
is
Oh, go ahead.
this is very on brand for all of them, and I don't know why Beckett is confused about this.
Every game is now chaos.
I rolled a 1.
Poppy, you have to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you, Sarastra.
Okay.
Oh, Leofston
Leofston, go.
seems to really be struggling, but he's like, my mother was Saga the Terror, and never knew my father until he approached me during the last vision and revealed he was in a vision Thor. I have a mark on my back from birth that honestly should have hinted at this, but we all thought it was just a different destiny.
Real quickly, Austin, how well known is Saga? If he were to do a history check and see if he could recall anything of hearing about Saga, what would you say that the difficulty would be? What would he have to get?
I'd say she was pretty well known. Like, she may not have raided too far south, but she has done a lot of exploits and was kind of a baby bastard to like people trying to sail ships. Like she was a bit of a terror. She was called a terror because she was a bit of a terror.
Mm-hmm. So then, in that case, starting from the top and going down, would it be nearly impossible, very hard, hard, medium, easy, or very easy?
I would say probably easy for like southerners and very easy for people from the north.
Okay.
Idiot.
But for Beckett. All right. Well, appreciate your honesty. And now, before anybody else climbs onto that chair, Poppy, why don't you go ahead and say who your parent is that you're a princess of?
And do I have to say the parent? I'm pretty sure I'd get in trouble if I say who it is, but I can tell you that I'm from the Feywild and that I'm a princess.
The officer just looks up. Then why did you climb on my shoulder?
Because he didn't believe I was a princess.
All right.
That's
If
the whole reason.
I do understand that Fae are a bit tricky when it comes to names and such, but perhaps maybe a more specific title that entitles you to the fact that you're a princess?
Oh, that part? She's considered... One of her titles is the Mistress of Air and Darkness.
Alright. He seems to be trying to recall, but you're not sure if he is able to or not. Alright.
Beckett's got bad rolls tonight.
What?
She has a lot of titles. I can give you a second one.
No, if you're in that chair, then that title would be good enough, I suppose.
Okay, come on, Prudence. Jump on.
No, we're not doing a dog pile on the chair. It's inappropriate.
Sandy gets
Hi,
off of the
John
chair
Kyle.
and gets
Person.
off of Leofston's lap and just points to it and looks at Prudence.
I will sit in my own chair, thank you.
I think it has to be this chair. And as he
What?
says that, he stands and like puts a hand up to make sure Poppy doesn't fall off and like gets out.
Okay. Prudence settles down in the chair.
All right,
crosses
Prudence.
her legs.
All right, Prudence. Prudence, all right.
All right, Beckett.
So, you're a pretty level-headed leader of this group, and therefore,
Thank you.
well, perhaps maybe I could blame it on the drink of why we were to go outside, but are you also related to some sort of fantastical being?
Yes.
You need to make a Christmas saving throw.
Oh shit.
You could lie if you want.
I won't lie.
Okay. Alright. And who may that be?
The goddess Lady Rava.
And before you get up from that chair, I just want to make this, just an extra question since you are the leader and all.
Sure.
So far we've got 4 of you that claim to be children of actual gods. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's quite weird, right? How we all sort of came together. Must be some sort of fate. Or orchestrated. I don't begin to know what gods do and why they do the things that they do.
We only just met them.
He starts to have like that 1,000-yard stare. Alright. Okay, you're done.
Thank you.
Who's... Sin, I believe that that leaves you, man.
Hey, I guess I'll sit. Sin sits and then he just kind of like eyes back and forth, looking at everybody.
All right, sorry, I'll explain my thought in a second, but out of character. But okay. All right, Sin. You don't know where you're from, but you say you met your father in the woods. of Margreve.
That's right.
Are they also a god?
That's what I've been told. I was actually told by Mara's godmother.
All right. Well, I guess that leaves me not needing to have to question her, I suppose. Oh, make a charisma saving throw. Keep forgetting. You can choose to lie if you wish. Alright, then who are you claiming to be the child of?
Called the Hunter. Not sure much else to say. I've never heard of him before, but he's frightening.
He kind of pauses for a second and he goes, and his eyes go a bit wide and he goes, alright, now that seems to be making a lot more sense of why you're wishing to fell some sort of beast by yourself in order to please such a dark god as him. Are you aware of that?
I thought it was rude to call them dark gods.
Is that the face Prudence is making too?
I'm not aware of anything. I'm not sure. Never heard of him before.
Alright.
What do you know about the Hunter?
Well, I mean, I know as a child you can't pick your parents, so, you know, I suppose it's a bit unfortunate. I don't know much about the Hunter. I've just heard him, from, you know, adventures past and such. From what I can recall, while I pull it up,
He said he wanted blood and violence.
yeah, he's known as the Blood God himself. He goes on almost extreme hunts that oftentimes are, you know, whether you're fey or whether you're, you know, mortal or whatnot. If the hunter is riding and if you hear his call to hunt, everyone that hears it is enraptured by it.
Don't want to disappoint him.
No, that makes a lot more sense now. If all right.
Prudence leans into whoever's close to her and she goes, sounds like he believes us.
All right, I guess it's my turn in the chair, just to be fair. If you want to swear me to secrecy and make sure I don't tell a soul or whatnot. He gets up and waits for Sin to get out of the chair.
We make
Sin
him
gets
swear.
up.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, Sid just gets up and
Should we make him swear before he sits?
I don't think that it would matter. I just ask him the right questions, I guess.
Perhaps you're not as privy to Zone of Truth as I am, and I know I'm biased because I'm you know, but you'd want me to swear while I'm inside the zone, so that way I would tell the truth. If I'm outside the zone, I can do what I wish as far as telling you what I want you to hear. Inside the zone, it's called Zone of Truth and not Zone of whatever you wish.
Prudence will gesture towards the chair and then, like, stand next to him to take point, to ask the questions.
Okay. Out of character real quick. I had a very fey, evil thought in my head when Sin was sitting in that chair.
Begad.
What's your name?
Oh,
Oh.
But anyways,
Well, he would have said Sin, wouldn't he?
yeah, I guess that would depend. But I
Yeah.
mean, he did roll high enough to where he could have lied. But, anyways, it's weird. It's interesting how that could work. But, anyhoozle, yeah, he goes in and sits down.
Alright, Beckett,
ho-
alright.
Hold on. Oh, I rolled it. Okay.
All right, Beckett. Do you swear not to tell anyone about what you've heard?
Yes.
Tandy has a question.
What's your question?
Does Beckett swear to not tell anything that Beckett has heard?
I believe that's the same thing, but
Yes.
as far as this dinner and all tonight, that yes.
I have a question too.
Yes, Poppy.
Do you believe us now?
I do. It's a lot, but I do.
Yay!
And by tell, I mean you can't write it down in a missive.
I won't tell or by any forms of communication available to man.
That's good enough for me.
Just know that now my expectations of your exploits are going to be a bit higher.
That's not fair. We're babies. We barely know anything about ourselves.
Look at me, I am baby.
You all can drink. I think you're fairly capable of, managing on your own. Especially as adventurers, you guys have a leg up on when I used to do it.
I have a question.
I suppose everyone has a right to ask me, so yes, Leostin.
What made you stop adventuring?
Good question.
He pauses for a bit. That's not quite related to our discussions here, but...
We told you something very personal, each personally.
Beckett said any question.
True.
I did. His eye twitches as he closes it. I had somebody quite near and dear to me that had perished in a fight that had gone horribly wrong. And her and I were particularly very close. We had each other's backs for most of our time together. We obviously not childhood friends, but we've been through enough dangers that we've formed a pretty intense bond.
Was it a lover?
Do you get more than one question, Poppy?
I don't know, do I? You
Sure.
never specified.
Well, we got 4 minutes left, so her and I didn't necessarily go by any labels, but we were intimate for quite a bit towards the end there.
Tandy has another question.
Why don't we let Sin have a chance first before we start talking about my love life?
I don't have any questions, actually.
Fine, I guess we'll spend the next 4 minutes talking about Heather. Alright, what we got?
Beckett answered Tandy's question.
I'm so sorry, Beckett.
Oh, yes, Tandy is sorry.
It's fine. It was a while back, and so keep myself rather busy to tend not to think about it too terribly much.
You have done well to honor her.
Have you gone to a therapist?
No, I haven't gone to. I don't know what that is. But I don't know if necessarily getting raked across the coals for taking investment money and purchasing a hippogriff. A griffin egg. A griffin egg. And then naming it after her is probably. Well, she might be particularly proud of it, but I don't know if across the board that is. It's very complicated. I think she would enjoy a chuckle about how ironic it was.
That's what I mean.
Griffins is big and strong and noble. This is a good thing.
It was one of her favorite animals. So obviously, when the Griffin Knights had an egg for sale, you probably may now understand maybe why I decided to use a bit of the investment money, but rest assured, I think all of that is pretty well taken care of now with at least the first 2 missions for most of everyone that's been able to go out.
You're welcome.
I've said thank you, but I'll thank you again. Now that we've got significantly a little bit less of groups, it's more just sort of well, until the next year dues come, then, which aren't much. Seems like we're pretty self-sustaining after a few months of time. We got 2 minutes left, I'm sure.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Are you pleased with the guild so far?
Quite. I'm a little bit sad that we have already had somebody die. I'm not exactly sure what happened with that Polina lady, but she came back in town, and I have not had time to talk to her since.
I was going to ask you about that.
So it's unfortunate that we've already had kind of a dark mark on our record of members as far as them dying, and then the other one's quitting. I suppose, you know, the work's not cut out for everybody. Not to mention, if you're traveling around, there's obviously things that you may see that inspire you to lead a different life or to perhaps pursue something else. So I guess I can't be mad at that. But fortunately, I have you guys. I have, you know, the Wander and his guys. And then I think one other group right now, but they're, you know, they haven't done. I think they're taking it easy, the safe route. So they don't take big chances like the you two groups do.
Maybe now that you know of our origins, perhaps we should get more pay.
Well, we got about 30 seconds left, Leosta, and I can tell you right now that as far as that goes, I think that just means that it's more guaranteed that we'll all be able to have a good share of your spoils, since you won't be going anywhere and you claim to be immortal. Which, by the way, it doesn't mean you're immortal, even if you're a child of a god. And then he goes,
Tendy has one more question.
nope, the spell just ended, I'm sorry. You could still ask, I'll try to be honest.
Does Beckett like Tendy and friends?
Oh, I that's relatively easy. Of course I do. Now's the time for me to lie. I don't believe him. Insight.
Insight check.
No, y'all are a bit, you obviously are quite diverse, and seem to have some uniformity and some a familyness together, but you're also quite different as far as, you know, aspirations or perhaps what you're wanting to do. So, you know, it's amazing. Most of the groups that come, or when they came back, they spent some time together and whatnot. It seems like every time you guys show up, you immediately go, okay, thanks, fuck off, and bye, and you go your separate ways for a few weeks, and then you find yourselves back together before it's time to take on the next contract.
That's not necessarily true.
Tendy gets busy.
Austin's side-eye is prudent.
Alright, I'm gonna go sit back in my chair over there, because that's where the wine is.
Since we're all together, I had a question for everyone. It's been a while. Do you all remember the Rat King?
Yes, I remember.
Yes.
It has not left my mind. I think about it often. What do you guys have on that?
My mic
What
stopped
do you mean?
working.
You're
What's
back.
happening?
About the Rat King.
What do you mean? What do we have on that?
Your thoughts? I mean, your thoughts.
My thoughts. Was he really a king? Is he really a rat? Has anyone seen him?
It is interesting that our first few days in town together, there was already a contract to kill us.
Tendy does not like Rebel.
Radu?
Yes. Tendi does not trust this person. Tendi is worried about the lady.
Which is something we could talk about later.
Let me. Perhaps maybe you've spent a lot of time outside the city and not so much within it once you started joining the guild. But first off, he's called the Mouse King, and it's Mizzy the First, and he's the Lord of the Undercity. He's one of the free councils of Zobeck. So, pray tell, if you're going around calling him the Rat King or some derogatory comments, then, but no, I don't
mean it to be derogatory.
I don't believe that he's the sort to be able to, that he would send out assassination attempts. It seems like he finds people much rather useful the more alive they are than dead.
Still, the truth is that there was an assassination attempt on us.
Do you know who started it?
No.
What enemies have you made so far?
We hadn't made any.
You're
As far as we know.
I can get the priest back in here. We can do another zone of truth. Are you sure you can't rack your brain to think of any point in time where you probably could have made enemies for even just a second?
Well, we were not from around here. Well, I mean, Tindy and I were, but they were not from around here, and we weren't blending in very well. And then a lot of people found us a lot, and they were like, "Oh, you're very easy to find." And then, is it weird that I'm forgetting what was happening because we've been through so much since then?
No, Poppy was drinking before that. Maybe we is upsetting pronouns. Maybe these ones is upsetting someone when these ones is drinking and don't remember?
Enough to get after our lives.
There was also a lot of people that we had to make decisions, and we didn't make the decisions that some of them wanted us to make when we first got out of prison. So it really could be anybody, to be honest.
That one person that we were in a room with that one time in the very beginning, who I don't remember the name of.
That lady,
Marat.
Lady Barak.
Wait,
I think there was a man though.
No, there was a guard. Yes, Teddy remembers.
I think I accidentally insulted someone sometime, but was that after or before?
when do you not insult people? That was out of character.
That it's a different character. Come on. This one does not.
Maybe it was Pip.
Oh no! Hey, Beckett. I know you're not under the thing anymore, but I do have a question.
I feel like this is a rather distracting question. You're all on a rather particularly good train of thought that might actually be able to answer Prudence's question.
Oh yeah. I'm not gonna remember. Okay, carry on.
Well,
Pile.
It's all right. I don't.
Pile?
Go ahead.
Pile.
There was
Guard is Pile.
Yeah, guard is Pile, but I don't think. Did I insult him too? Oh no, that's not who I'm talking about. He was kind of scary and intimidating, and I think we had tea.
Have you had attempts on your life since then?
I don't remember.
Not in Zobeck.
And you've spent at least a good few months in Zobeck during your free time and such. Where you're all not together, making it probably much easier to be able to do that if you're all separated, and if you haven't had it, I don't know if it's really much of a... Maybe the problem's resolved itself.
Tindy and I weren't separated this time. We were hanging out.
Tendi had to go to the store. Dad does not remember to buy groceries or eat or drink water or sleep
You should get him a water bottle and put a Tamagotchi on it so he remembers to drink it every time it needs to be fed.
A Tommy who?
I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, carry on.
What was like Austin gonna say?
I was saying they often looks at Prudence again.
It's going like this.
So, okay. I don't know if it's necessarily something to worry yourself about anymore. But, always be wary. Zobeck's a big city. I guess now that we've gotten all of that information and knowledge out of the way, then it wasn't necessarily that you're going to meet your parents. So where are you going?
We're going to meet our parents and give them gifts.
We were given a task to meet them at a neutral temple.
And we have to be confident in our gifts, otherwise it won't be accepted. And even then, they could probably not accept it anyway.
Judging by the fact that you are all quite a diverse group of individuals, therefore, your parents are also a diverse group of individuals, perhaps maybe take it from experience. I don't think they're all going to I don't think they're going to be there necessarily personally.
Why would they not show up? Do you think they're too busy?
Well, consider this, Poppy. You know how, let's say that there's a god of the harvest, right?
Isn't there?
There is. So, every farmer during harvest, or during planting season, offers something to be able to have bountiful crops, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you receive a knock at your door saying, "Hello, I am the god of the harvest. I will take your offering right now, please"?
Well, one year we did, but it turns out it was just a prank from the neighbor kids.
And therefore my point is proven. The god doesn't have to be present in order to receive an offering.
But what if it wasn't the neighbor kids and it was just the god pulling a prank on us?
That's more the god of trickery and deceit, but...
Oh, okay.
But
What if the god of trickery and deceit came to me?
It's been told that gods are not quite agreeable with one another, depending on their particular philosophies of how they would run the show if they were kind of the head of it all. There have been stories passed down from since time began that they say that the fact that the gods have been fighting ever since are what shapes mountains and creates seas and rivers and oceans. And, they say that many of the mountain ranges are in fact perhaps maybe just rock formed upon the spine of fallen titanous gods. I don't know if necessarily that's true, but I believe I see Leofton nodding his head, so I'm assuming that they tell the same sort of stories up in the north as well.
They do. They speak of Odin and his brothers killing the giant Ymir and making his blood into rivers and lakes, his bones into mountains and trees, his flesh into the earth, and his thoughts into the sky.
I like to believe there's some merit in the stories we tell and read.
There is.
It's
Or it's my father that made Odin exist.
that each different place has their own particular origin story. It depends. You can ask somebody from the north, they'll tell you that, but if you go down to the Southlands, they'll tell you something completely different. If you go over to the Dragon Empire, which, by the way, is very dangerous, don't be going there just yet, but they'll tell you something completely different there as well. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they're wrong. You can't really go back and verify it. What I'm trying to say is I don't want you to get your hopes up. If this is something you're looking forward to, and if trying to give them an offering that, if you're trying to give them an offering of some kind, they will likely not be there to receive it, but that doesn't necessarily mean they won't get it.
Well, then then why would we have to travel 40 days and 39 nights to go there? Is that the only way they can receive things?
Where is it that you're going? You said a
40
neutral.
days and 39 nights to the insert.
He looks.
direction
He
here.
looks over at Leostin mid-sentence. You said a neutral temple. What?
Tendi tells Beckett where.
The temple of the temple of the gods.
The Temple of the Gods.
Fairly easy to remember, I would hope, but
I couldn't remember if that was the actual name or if there was like a Norse name.
Got Tempet.
Oh, there goes my alarm. I gotta go, guys.
Good night.
night.
Bye.
Good night.
All right. Well, if it's the
We just poofed out of here. That's crazy.
all right, bye, Tendi. If you guys are.
Eddie remembers they have to go to. They have a bedtime. They have to go home.
Dad said that Tindy has to go at exactly 10:30.
It's curfew. All right. If you're going there, if it is true, I believe it's a neutral temple. I'm not exactly sure. I've only heard of it. It's on the other side of the Black Hills.
Do you want to come with us, Beckett?
Absolutely not. That's a long time to be away from the Drengskapper.
Bring Heather with us.
That would be lovely. I'm sure that after things get a little bit more autonomous around here, I am certainly in need of a vacation. But are you not familiar, perhaps, with ley lines in the Fey Roads?
Is Poppy familiar with ley lines in the favor?
Yeah, everyone is.
Yeah, everybody is, obviously.
Oh, great. Well, tell me about it then.
Oh, insert information here.
Mm-hmm. How convenient. No, ley line. To reiterate, ley lines are lines. What kind of? They're not visible, but they are intersecting in certain weaving patterns all over Midgard. And in these ley lines, magic seems to be more abundant. Like, it really depends on the when, where, how, who, what, but ley lines are like the life of like the aether flowing in a certain direction that empowers things along the way. Cities sometimes build themselves on or near a ley line, in most cases equivalent to a river when people need water. Fey roads, on the other hand, Poppy, you'd probably be most familiar with this, but Fey roads are traveling between the planes. As far as there is a particular roads that the Shadow Fey especially, have crafted to traverse through and end up where they need to be. So, like, for example, there is Fey roads that there's the Black Road that kind of goes I believe it's the Black Road. You guys actually, like, it weaves in and out of Margreve Forest and the Black Hills.
Yeah, I know about Fey ley lines. Why do you ask?
Well, I mean, supposedly, I don't know if you've ever gone in through one before, but that would provide a much faster, albeit dangerous, way of travel.
I don't know how to go through one, though. I probably did when I was younger, but I don't remember how.
Well, I'm sure if you find somebody who's at least knows about the Fey roads, maybe you could take a shortcut and you could be able to. I mean, you can't. I don't know if you can necessarily take the cart through, or I don't know. I don't travel through them myself, but if there's one that goes through Margrave Forest and the Black Hills, if it's on the other side of that, then perhaps if it's that far away, then at least it would cut your journey down by quite a bit. The problem, I've heard stories that if you step off the Fey Road, you are even if you take one single solitary step off of the intended path of the Fey Road, you are immediately lost. You turn around.
In what way?
You turn around and there's no road. It could take you however long. If you are walking right next to somebody and you both step off at the same time, you turn and that person is no longer there next to you. If you take the road, you need somebody who is well versed in guiding you through it. Because while the roads themselves might be a lot safer, it's a lot of the unknowns of not only getting lost, but what also maybe whatever hides in the shadowy realms of the Fae.
Can Poppy do like a memory check to see if she remembers ever being on one before?
No, I would say you probably haven't. Because when you're in the Feywild, you're in the Feywild, and then you ended up here.
How'd she end up here then, Jordan?
Hmm?
What happened? I'm gonna figure it out one of these days. When that happens, it's over for every one of you.
I'd say you're familiar enough to know they exist. You're not familiar enough to be able to know where and how to get in and navigate one by yourself.
Beckett, are you aware of anyone we could procure to take a Fey road? Or where one might even begin to look?
You know, I can't say that I do, but I at least know of a whisper that I've been hearing about, some rumor. I'm not exactly sure the validity to it because I've not seen them myself. But they say that they're supposedly supposed to be some sort of ambassador for the Shadow Fae. Somewhere here in town, I have no idea where. No one's ever seen them. So I don't even think that they actually exist. But since they're the ones that have crafted the roads, they might, if sounds like they're the only Shadow Fae I've come across, so they might be the place to go. But
I
again,
wonder if it's at the place of my meeting.
Where was your meeting?
At the meeting?
Yeah, I had a meeting, and that's how I found out who my mom was.
Was it with other Fae?
Yeah. And it was in town.
Alright,
We could maybe check out that place.
do you remember where? I mean, we all have to agree that this is the path that we want to take, knowing the risks.
Yeah, I do remember here, but I feel like it was information lost in a video file somewhere.
What's a video file?
I don't know what you heard, but that's not what I said. I said I have this information right here, and here it is.
What's your information here?
you had, I believe you were given an actual legit written invitation.
I was, but then I found out that the invitation was like, haha, but guess what? It's actually somewhere else.
And still, that doesn't necessarily mean anything.
Oh, I just happen to have the invitation right here in my bag. Let me find it.
How convenient.
You
Ah,
see,
yes.
I mean, you still have it. So just to reiterate, it reads as follows: Poppy Honeyblossom, on behalf of His Excellency Glananan Thelamandrin, Ambassador in Extraordinary of the Winter Court, you are hereby invited to dine and discuss personal matters of interest at the Shadow Fae Embassy. As His Excellency is well aware, your duties to your guildmates will need to wait until tomorrow, as this invitation is for tonight only. To reject such a regal invitation is to solidify scrutiny from those he serves. Sincerely and royally yours, Assistant to the Ambassador in Extraordinary, Theramina Faustian.
Assistant to the Ambassador in Extraordinary, Theramina Faustin. And that's what I read out loud just now.
There's no address.
Oh, the address is on the envelope. How do I know where the address was at first?
You took a cart.
I had my brother drive me.
You had your brother drive you.
Yeah.
So you remember some things, you just don't remember all of it.
I know like specific parts that my brain like focuses on that aren't important, but like the important things, I was like, I don't necessarily need to remember this because I'll just watch the video later, and then the video file did not work. So then every single note that I was going to be taking afterward is gone. Which is why I didn't even remember my mom's name.
You remember the fact that the building was supposed to be where it said, but it was not. So clearly there's some Fae shit going on with this particular embassy. So you know roughly where it's at. Whether or not they, like the Fae embassy wants you to find it, is a whole nother story.
Well, I know where it's at. Whether or not it works or not is up to the Fae.
Well, it's a better lead than no lead at all. I don't mind researching it and going to check it out if you don't.
We can go together and it could be like, I don't know, some strange text that we could talk about it in. That's so crazy.
How you are so fucking meta right now. It is so goblin.
Sorry.
You're good. You're
I'm
good.
in a weird mood tonight.
All right, so it seems that the group now has a decision whether or not they want to go the route that they have already mapped out, which is 40 days and 39 nights, or if you want to risk taking a Fey road, a shadow road, from nearby to cut perhaps your travel significantly. There are many unknown things you do not know about this. You don't know who can be able to get you in, how to get in, and especially how to navigate it, and how exactly you'll end up going through it. So there's a lot of things to discuss, whether or not it would be worth taking the road or going on a normal roadway. But that will be a discussion for between now and next session, as this has been Midgard, aka Pippa's World. And you guys' evening concludes with Beckett as you have revealed to him that you are children of the gods, and he is sworn to secrecy to never tell a single soul.